Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Friday Five. First full week in January has led to some interesting developments in mortgage rates. So first, let me give you an idea where rates are, and then we'll talk about what moved them in a good direction. And then we'll go into some forecasts for rates, home inventory, home appreciation, and then finish up from there, and some wild cards that could play into the market as a whole as well. All right, first, mortgage rates. So VA 30-year fixed down to 5.7%. FHA 30-year fixed down to 5.69%. Conventional 30-year fixed just over 6% at 6.06%. Conventional 15-year fixed at 5.59%. And then conventional 7-year ARM 5.72%. Again, all of these are national averages directly from Mortgage News Daily. So we've seen a nice little improvement over the past week in mortgage rates. Why? Well, last night was pretty much the big mover. President Trump announced that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, he had given them direction to purchase $200 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities or mortgage bonds moving forward. And as soon as he made that announcement, bond traders were in there buying bonds, pushing the yields down. That momentum carried into this morning because that didn't start till like real late after 4 o'clock yesterday, carried into this morning. Then there was a jobs report that came in worse than expected, although the unemployment number came in a little better than expected, but we still saw mortgage rates improve again today. So we're in a great spot. It's really nice to see so many options under 6% and conventional very close to it as well. Okay, number two, let's look at some rate forecasts, and then I'll give you some of my own personal rate prognostications, which may or may not be correct. First, let me run through some rate predictions from a handful of different sources. All this information was compiled by the Mortgage Research Network. Fannie Mae is predicting 5.9% for 2026. Mortgage Bankers Association, 6.4%. National Association of Realtors, 6.0%. Realtor.com, 6.3%. Redfin, 6.3%. National Association of Home Builders, 6.2%. And obviously, all of these current market rates are pretty much at or better than most of these forecasts. I'm going to take the under. After yesterday's announcement about Fannie and Freddie and their purchasing of $200 billion in mortgage bonds, I'm going to go with a prediction of 5.8%. And here's the really cool thing about my prediction. All these economists are wrong with their forecasts every year. So if I'm wrong, I'll just be part of the bunch that didn't get it right. And number three this week, let's talk about some forecasts for 2026 home appreciation. Again, a number of different sources. Fannie Mae expert panel, they expect continued home growth in 2026, but at a moderating pace. And they were looking at 3.6% national home growth. NAR chief economist Lawrence Yun, he's predicting 4% home price growth in 2026. Zillow economists, they're looking at 1.2% in 2026. Mortgage Bankers Association, they're looking at very modest appreciation, near flat or slightly positive. So I do think this is very much local, though. We could look at national numbers, but it very much has to do with the market you're in. I think there are certain markets in the country that have an oversupply of inventory at this point and not as much demand, and the prices in those areas are going down. Here in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania, we are still seeing strong demand for housing that either matches or still exceeds the inventory levels. And I think we're going to continue to see appreciation 2026. 3% is kind of a normal annual number, and I think we'll land somewhere around that 3%. But here's the wild card. So this is number four. The wild card in all of this is if we see rates through the Fannie Mae pressure, the Freddie Mac, MBS purchasing, and if we see any type of economic reports that continue to show a softer economy and rates go down further, say we get into the low to mid fives, that is very much a wild card because lower rates probably is going to encourage some more buyers to come back to the market because it will help affordability for the time being. But I also think that it could bring about more sellers to the market Because if you're one of those kind of locked in home buyers who has a rate at 3% and you've been looking at 6.5 or 7 or 7.25 to buy a new house, you're just like, no, I'm not doing it. But if rates go to 5.25 and you're sitting at 3, maybe that changes your mind. And if that changes your mind about buying a new house, that may mean that you are listing your current house either concurrently with buying your new one, or maybe you buy your new one first and then you list it. But I do think lower rates could actually lead to more inventory. So while normally I would think lower rates would mean that would put upward pressure on prices, which I still think it kind of will, but I also think it could bring more inventory to market to try to meet some of that demand. So that's a big wild card. If rates go down dramatically, how does that impact inventory, and how does inventory impact prices? And number 5, quote of the week. This is a proverb, Proverbs 16:16. How much better to get wisdom than gold, to get insight rather than silver. So as we head into the new year and do a bunch of forecasting, hopefully most of that is rooted in knowledge and research and hopefully wisdom. Hope you have a great 2026. Thanks for watching. If I can help you in any way, please reach out.